Hi, folks. This is Jonathan Weinberg. We just hit 600 subscribers, so I'm very excited by that. And I want to thank everybody who subscribed and invite people who haven't subscribed to subscribe to the channel because that's the way to support me and it makes me happy. Today I'm going to do a pretty quick review. If you've watched this channel and you've listened to me, you'll know that one of my favorite pens is the Lamy 2000. I'm not alone in that. So many people love this pen. It has been a staple of Lamy's pens for now 60 years, even though it looks absolutely contemporary. It's beautiful. It's made out of this sort of fantastic material at the time, kind of space age material. It's light. The great pleasure of it is the nib, which writes like a dream. So it's a terrific pen. Recently, I got the stainless steel version of the pen, which I have always sort of wanted. Hard to justify since I love the Lamy 2000 in black. But I've always sort of coveted this, and there was this amazing deal that I was able to get on it, and I used it was actually on Amazon, and I was able to use I had Amazon points, and so I got it for quite affordable amount of money. And I have to say, it is just incredibly beautiful. It's stainless steel. It's heavier than the black Lamy pen, the original. But in a way, I don't know if it's his, it's a matter of taste which one is more beautiful. But to tell you the truth, I wasn't expecting it to be so beautiful. The way you can see, it's like glowing in the light. Um, there's something really lovely about the fact that unlike the original, it has the same stainless steel runs all the way to the tip, so that it has a more unified design. I really like that. The Lamy is, it's so careful about details. And I was just watching a review of another steel pen, and the problem with that pen is that when you post it, it tends to scratch. And Lamy designed this in such a way and put a plastic element inside, I think it's plastic, inside the pen cap so that when you do post it, it doesn't scratch, or at least not easily scratch the pen, which is nicely thought. Like the original Lamy 2000, it's very pleasing when it clicks closed, and it's beautifully designed that way. Now, in order to get this terrific price, I had to go for the Extra Fine Nib. I'm not a big fan for the most part, particularly if I'm going to use a pen for writing, of the Extra Fine Nib. But the thing to be said, and everybody says this in the reviews of the Lamy 2000, is that in this line of Lamy's pens, the Extra Fine really writes like a fine to a medium. It doesn't, I'm going to do a writing sample of both the original Lamy 2000, which I have as a medium, and this Extra Fine, so I hope that will help you think about, which one you want. Um, I have to say that the nib on this one is not as satisfying. I think because it's an Extra Fine, it has more feedback. It writes really nicely and draws really, really well. But I prefer the medium nib. So that, I hope, will help people when they're thinking about buying it. The medium nib is very, very smooth. Has just a slight feedback, which is almost like a pencil. This one has a little bit more feedback and almost more of a spot where it writes well and then another spot where it doesn't write well. A lot of nibs are like that. I still really like it. The other thing to be said about the pen is that it is considerably heavier than the 2000, the black version, with its space age material, is quite light. So this is a heavier pen, almost too heavy. I like it actually when I'm writing with it, but I would say if I was writing pages and pages and pages, that this might be a bit too heavy. I've talked about the history of the Lamy 2000 before, but just to reiterate, it was designed in 1966 by Gerd Alfred Mueller. The material at that time was new macrolon, the black material, and the stainless steel version is, as I say, very close to the black version, but in this wonderfully luxurious, I think, material that gives it even more of a space age look and feels actually the coolness of it in the hand is really very, very sensuous, and it's really wonderful. This is just such a gorgeous pen.
Oh. Hello, gorgeous.
You can see how it compares to the original Lamy 2000, exactly the same size. The clip is shiny metal versus the Lamy 2000 clip, which is a brushed metal, and the macrolon, of course, is a kind of smoother, it's lighter material. The the Lamy 2000 is considerably heavier. The difference is on the stainless steel version, the name Lamy is on the side of the pen. Let's see if I can find that cap. If you can see that, but it says Lamy on the cap top, right? And on the black version, it says Lamy on the actual clip. This is a piston filled, these are piston filled pens, so they don't use converters. And they post very securely. Here's another difference. The black version has an ink window where you can just, very subtle, you can see if there's ink in it. I always forget actually that it has it because it's so subtle. Particularly if you have black ink in it, it kind of disappears. The stainless steel version does not have an ink window, so that's another difference. The stainless steel version, when it posts, becomes really a bit heavy, but it's a fairly long pen, so you don't have to post it, but you can post it. I wouldn't say that it's unbalanced. It's just the pen as a whole is heavier than the original version, and that's a difference too. Anyway, so it is really the Lamy 2000, as I've said, it's just a gorgeous pen, and I think I strongly recommend it. It would make a great gift, I think, for Christmas if you know someone. It lists for around, I think, normally for somewhere between $250, $300. So it's an expensive gift, but it is. I can't imagine anybody not being appreciative of it and thinking this is a beautiful thing, and it writes, unlike a lot of jewelry which just looks good. This is actually functions. As always, please, after you've looked at the writing sample and the drawing of Dahlia and the fountain pen, please subscribe. Thanks. All right. So this is the Lamy 2000 stainless, and it has extra fine nib. I'm using diamine oxblood, which is a very beautiful ink, and this is rhodia paper. And you can see it's a very good writer, but this is more, my mind, like a medium than it is like a extra fine. But it's kind of a medium with quite a lot of feedback. I wouldn't say that it's, it's still kind of smooth. It actually writes sort of, it's sort of like a pencil. It's not super wet. It's very reliable writer. Okay. To be or not to be, that is the question. And the main thing I would say about writing with this pen is that it is much heavier than the original Lamy 2000. So if you don't like heavy pens, one solution is to not post it. If you want it to be lighter. And because it is so streamlined, it's quite a bit slipperier. That's the right word. It's slippery in comparison to the original. Now, as point of comparison here, this is the medium. So the medium is almost a broad, much, much smoother. So that's the medium. And that's the extra fine. The medium is much smoother. I prefer the medium. But it also may be due to the particular pen that I have. If you watch my channel, you realize that it really should be called drawing and painting with fountain pens, because I'm always kind of combining, or often combining, the drawing part with water and watercolor. I like the way blurring the pen and the effect, sort of almost accidental effect that you get, and I like adding color to it. Also, I am not such a good drawer that I don't make mistakes, and so when I use the watercolor, I can sort of fudge the mistakes, and I love adding the color to it. So the ink, the pen itself, doesn't have a lot of line variation, but when you scribble with it and add more weight to it and go over the line, you do get variation with it, and it's quite expressive, even though it's not a flex pen.